Hello everyone, this is Miss Michaela, and in this video I am going to be reading Chapter 4 of Persepolis, called Persepolis, as well as Chapter 5, which is called The Letter. One day after school. Hi, Mom. Hi. Go and look in the guest room. There's a surprise for you. Grandma, are you leaving already? No, I'm just changing. Mom told me that Grandpa had been in prison. How was school? It must have been very hard on you. Oh, my back. Can I help you? No, I'm okay. As you say, it was very hard for me, but also for your mother and for your uncles. The Shah's father took everything we owned. I lived in poverty. What? You mean you were poor too? Oh, yes. So poor that we had only bread to eat. I was so ashamed that I pretended to cook so that the neighbors wouldn't notice anything. Mom is cooking something good. Come on, she is just boiling water again. To survive, I took in sewing, and with leftover material, I made clothes for the whole family. Look how well dressed we all are in this photo. Why isn't Grandpa there? Was he in prison? Yes, the father of the Shah was very tough, but his son was 10 times worse. Even worse? You know, my child, since the dawn of time, dynasties have succeeded each other, but the kings always kept their promises. The Shah kept none. I remember the day he was crowned. He said, I am the light of the Aryans. I will make this country the most modern of all time. Our people will regain their splendor. He even went to the grave of Cyrus the Great, who ruled over the ancient world. Cyrus, rest in peace. We are looking after Persia. So the Shah goes to the grave of Cyrus the Great, who established the Persian Empire years and years ago. All the country's money went into ridiculous celebrations of the 2,500 years of dynasty and other frivolities. All of this to impress heads of state. The population couldn't have cared less. So Margie's grandma is explaining here why she didn't like the Shah, and she says that the Shah put all of this money towards impressing heads of state, but the population didn't care about that. The population, the people of Iran, really just wanted to be happy and healthy. I am so happy that there is finally a revolution because the Shah, I'm hungry. I bought you some books. You will see why the people are revolting. She won't tell me about Grandpa. Your daughter says she is hungry. Well, she has to wait for her father. Photo. He'll be back soon. Who? My father had gone to take some photos of the demonstration, but this time he was very late. He took photos every day. It was strictly forbidden. He had even been arrested once, but escaped at the last minute. So here, Margie's mom and grandma are talking about her father, and they're worried about him. But Margie's just a small child, you can see here in this picture, and she doesn't really understand what's going on. And it's really dangerous for him to take pictures of the demonstrations like this. And she says that he had even been arrested once before doing this, but he escaped at the last minute. We waited for him for hours. There was the same silence as before a storm. And here they are silently waiting. I thought that my father was dead, that they had shot him. Hello, I'm home. Abby, thank God. If you only knew how worried I was. Something incredible happened, he says. Yes, I almost had a heart attack. Dad, I was sure you were dead. Today I went to Ray Hospital with my camera. People came out carrying the body of a young man killed by the army. He was honored like a martyr. A crowd gathered to take him to the Bashit Sara cemetery. Then there was another cadaver, an old man carried out on a stretcher. Those who didn't follow the first one went over to the old man, shouting revolutionary slogans and calling him a hero. Here is another martyr. So this group of people are carrying what they're calling martyrs. So a martyr is a person who dies for a cause that they care a lot about. So this young man died probably in a demonstration when he was fighting for his country. And then they start carrying out another body, and the people yell, "Here's another martyr." Well, I was taking my photos when I noticed an old woman next to me. I understood that she was the widow of the victim. I had seen her leave the hospital with the body, and this woman, whose dead husband is being carried, yells, "Please, stop it, stop it." "What? What is it?" "Stop it. Who are you?" "His widow." "Are you a royalist?" "No, but my husband died of cancer." So this man that they're yelling for is saying, well, my husband was not a martyr. He didn't die for a cause. He died of cancer. And they say, what? Of what? What is she saying? And then some other people yell, the king is a killer, but he won't be a winner. We will catch you one day and make you pay. And they tell her, no problem, he's a hero. So they don't care that this man died of cancer. They're still going to call him a martyr because they're so excited and emotional about this revolution that they just want someone to cheer for. And her dad says, but the rest is even better. Because the widow started demonstrating with them, the king is a killer. So she knows her husband died of cancer, but she cheers for him like he's a martyr anyway. Haha, it's too funny. If I die now, at least I will be a martyr. Grandma martyr. So they're all laughing, because this is kind of silly and weird. Something escaped me. Cadaver, cancer, death, murderer, laughter? So she doesn't really understand why they're laughing. So she laughs too, and then it says, I realized then I didn't understand anything. I read all the books I could. And then she's reading a book here about the reasons for the revolution. All right, the next chapter is called The Letter. I'd never read as much as I did during that period. My favorite author was Ali Ashraf Darvishian, a kind of local Charles Dickens. I went to his clandestine book signing with my mother. For me, friend Korush. Why does he speak like that? It's just a Kurdish accent. He told sad but true stories. Riza became a porter at the age of 10. Layla wove carpets at age of 5. Hassan, 3 years old, cleaned car windows. Get down from there, stupid. I finally understood why I felt ashamed to sit in my father's Cadillac. So she's reading these books by this man, this author, and in his books he tells stories about young children who are doing things to try and make money at a very young age. And she realizes this is why I feel guilty when I sit in my dad's really expensive car, because there's all of these people out here who don't have a lot. The reason for my shame and for the revolution is the same, the difference between social classes. But now that I think of it, we have a maid at home. So she doesn't like the social classes, but then she realizes that they have a maid who is in a different social class. And this is the maid, Mary. She was 8 years old when she had to leave her parents' home to come to work for us, just like Reza, Layla, and Hassan. We have too many children, 14 or 15 including her. She will eat well at your house. We will take care of her. So here's little Mary, the maid, and Margie's parents are taking her in because Mary's parents don't think they can afford to feed her. She was just 10 years old when I was born. She took care of me. She played with me, and she always finished my food. She also told me stories about jackals that scared me, and it came closer, and it came closer. In other words, we got along well. At the beginning of the revolution, in 1978, she fell in love with the neighbor's son. She was 16 years old. Can you help me lace my shoes? Every night they looked at each other from the window of my room, until the day he slipped her a letter. Like most peasants, she didn't know how to read and write. Can you read me my letter? What will you give me in exchange? Margie asks. My mother had tried to teach her, but apparently she was not very talented. So let's repeat. M as in carrot. So I wrote the letters for her, one each week for 6 months. My dear Hussein, I miss you a lot. It has been 3 days since I saw you at the window. I often talk about you to my sister. Which sister? You. I was very devoted. So Mary is a maid in a lower social class than Margie, and she falls in love with this boy, the boy who lives next door. And he writes her a letter, but she can't read or write, so Margie helps her. And in this letter, Mary lies and says that she's sisters with Margie, which would make her a member of the upper social class. So she's lying to this boy about what social class she is in. Mary had a real sister, 1 year younger, who worked at my uncle's house. You know, I have a fiancé, she tells her sister. Oh, really? Who? It's him in front of the TV. Isn't he handsome? Not bad. After a few visits, she fell in love with him too. Her jealousy was more than she could bear, and she told Mary's story to my uncle, who told it to my grandma, who told it to my mom. This is how the story reached my father. So, Mary's sister also falls in love with this boy, and she gets really jealous. So she tells on Mary, and Margie's father finds out, who decided to clarify the situation. So he goes over to the neighbor's house, and he says, I am your neighbor. I would like to have a few words with your son. Okay, I'll get straight to the point. I know that Mary pretends she is my daughter. In reality, she is my maid. And he says, really? Do you want to continue seeing her? Without any hesitation, Hussein gave all the letters he had received to my father. And her father thinks, but this is Margie's handwriting. Tell me what these are, he says to her. Letters. Why didn't you tell us anything? You must understand that their love was impossible. Why is that? Because in this country you must stay within your own social class. So this boy doesn't want anything to do with Mary once he finds out that she is a maid. And Margie learns that you have to stay within your own social class in the country. But is it her fault that she was born where she was born? Dad, are you for or against social classes? When I went back to her room, she was crying. We were not in the same social class, but at least we were in the same bed. When I finally understood the reasons for the revolution, I made my decision. Tomorrow we are going to demonstrate. We're not allowed. Don't worry, we are going anyway. So the next day, take care. Mary, don't forget to cook her some chicken. Yes, madam, see you later. For once, she didn't insist on coming with us. And then here they go off to demonstrate. There is the demonstration. We shouted from morning till night. It's late, we have to go home. Yes, long live the Republic, down with the Shah. And here comes Margie's mother. Good Lord, where the devil were you? And she slaps both Mary and Margie. We had demonstrated on the very day we shouldn't have, on Black Friday. That day there were so many killed in one of the neighborhoods that a rumor spread that Israeli soldiers were responsible for the slaughter. But in fact, it was really our own who had attacked us. So Margie and Mary went to protest on this day when it's called Black Friday now because so many people were killed and there was a huge massacre at one of the demonstrations. So that's why Margie's mom was angry because they were gone and she was worried that they had died in the Black Friday massacre. And a rumor had spread that it was the Israeli soldiers, but actually it was the Shah's soldiers. And he killed his own people because they were demonstrating against him.